Oh, good. Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, November 12th. It is just after 10 a.m., 10:02 a.m. We are at the Presidio County Courthouse in Marfa, Texas. This is a regular meeting of the county commissioners. So if I could ask our esteemed clerk to verify quorum. Present.
Present.
Oh, correct that. Here.
Present.
Here. Thank you so much. You would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
So the next portion, and we'll start with everybody present in the courthouse. If you have public comments, if you would please come forward and state your name, and we'll give you 5 minutes.
And y'all should know this is only public comments if there's not an item on the agenda that you want to speak to.
Okay, so public comments.
Robert Davis, Marfa resident. We hear Judge one more time. This is the third time it's spoken to three of you individually, not on the consultant plan. If Mr. Acosta is not going to send somebody out to do the work, then we should know. But I've asked you personally 3 times. I've asked the commissioner, the Mr. Beebe, at least 3 times with Dr. Hall. Is there any reason why we're not getting any kind of road maintenance out there? Yes.
Yeah, let me tell you, sir, I talked to Ruben.
Yeah.
Road Bridges,
Yeah.
and he said he'll be on that street, as soon as he has the chance, but he'll be maybe a few days, 2-3 days.
It's not that street, it's those streets.
Okay, yeah, he said he knew which road you were talking.
It's all of them.
Okay.
There's no question here about budget. There's no question here about maintenance, about materials. And there's no question here about trucks or equipment. He's simply refused or not coming out to do his work.
Yes, like I said, I already talked to him and advised him, he said he was gonna be here.
And why wasn't he here last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? The cold is coming down, the rain is coming down. What is it about that job that he's not doing?
So I would like to, hold on, Blair.
No, this is not gonna for discussion.
Yeah,
So the
yeah,
thank
commissioners
you.
can have discussion on who might not leave, and I have public comments have been.
Yeah.
Was that all the comments you had? Is that it?
Yeah, that's my fault.
Okay. Any other? Yes.
Award for the Victim of Crime Act, grant. So my office will now get to keep that. So we were already keeping her under a different grant, but now we've got more money coming in, to fund my victim assistance coordinator, which is an amazing thing. I think I'm the only county, I'm the only prosecutor's office in at least 5 counties around that has a dedicated victim assistance coordinator. And now because of this grant, we get to keep her designated just for victims assistance.
Any other public comments? Anybody online with public comments? See no hands up. We'll go ahead and move on to our routine agenda items. Agenda item number 1, discuss and take action to approve budget amendments and/or line item transfers.
Yes, sir, I have both. Line item transfers are still for fiscal year 25. This is to start closing out our previous fiscal year. To the elections from operating supplies, $2,470.92. From overtime to cover costs of election supplies, To non-departmental utilities, $90.69. To the juries, $47.58. Autopsies, $1,950. And to insurances, $3,237.50. For miscellaneous, and this is to cover overdrawn accounts. To the annex utilities, $708.85 from operating supplies to cover the September, utilities. Road and bridge utilities, $138.81 from capital to cover September utilities. Vizcaíno, fuel, $232.20 from capital to cover fuel costs for September 25. To the golf course utilities, $211.51 from capital, and this is to cover utilities for September 2025. To Radford utilities, $53.77 from furniture and equipment to cover Radford Center utilities for September. To the abandoned vehicles, other services, $666 from capital to cover, overdrawn account. To the airport, incentive and overtime costs, $3,597.67 from salaries to cover overtime costs. To the airport utilities, $1,355.20 from capital to cover Marfa Airport utilities for September. And last one, to the county judge, capital, $117.90 from fuel. And this is to cover still, invoice for the new computer.
And that's line item transfers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions, discussion? Motions?
I'll move that we approve the budget or the line item transferred as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I see those.
The first one's to the Operation Lone Star Grant. The Casino County received Operation Lone Star Grant in the amount of $261,948.79. Starting September 1, 2025 through August 31, 2026. It requires no match from the county, and the purpose of this grant is to enhance interagency border security operations. The funds from this grant are earmarked to purchase specialized computer software, law enforcement vehicle, equipment for vehicles, radio and accessories, and other supplies authorized by the grant.
I see you have a suggested motion.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Any discussion? Motions?
I will move that the Presidio County Commissioners Court confirm the county auditor's certification of unanticipated revenue for the Operation Lone Star Grant number 5371801 in the amount of $361,948.79 and increase the fiscal year 2026 revenue and expenditure budgets in the same amounts in accordance with the attached budget amendment form. Did I nail it?
Nailed it.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, I had a motion.
I'll second. I'm sorry.
I had a second by Commissioner Knight. All in favor?
Aye.
Is for the Presidio County 2026 VOCA Crime Victim Coordinator Grant Award. The total for this project is $55,300 with a 20% match required from the county. The match is in the amount of $11,060 and is coming from Senate Bill 22 grant funds. Funds from this grant will be used to fund the salaries and expenses of the crime victim coordinator with the county attorney as the project director. This is a budgeted item, a budget amendment is required.
I move that Presidio County Commissioners Court confirm the county auditor's certification of unanticipated revenue for VOCA Crime Victim Coordinator Grant in the amount of $55,300 and increase the fiscal year 2026 revenue and expenditures budget in the same amount in accordance with the attached budget amendment form.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
You're welcome. Agenda item number 3. Did we go to The auditor's report?
No, that's the next one.
Okay,
The email you auditor's report, and I uploaded it this morning to the drive, I apologize for that. I also sent you the investment statements along with the jail report of expenses and revenues for fiscal year 25. If there are any questions, please let me know.
Alicia, is this only dealing with FY 25?
This is October 2025. The jail report, you mean?
No.
The auditor's report for the month of October.
Okay, so I guess the question I have is, have we started receiving any revenue from the
I have not seen it.
Okay.
For what? Taxes?
tax assessor collectors?
We did a little bit of the first round of tax statements, we went out and beat the harder, but I think we're gonna keep it really big. But it wasn't for the month and in October.
Okay.
No, but we're gonna see the big amount there.
Right, and I know there's a little delay because our statement, okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you. I move that we approve the auditor's monthly report.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item number 4,
3,
3. The treasurer's, discuss and take action to approve the treasurer's list of claims and bills.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
The bill amount is $191,860.96. And there's really nothing out of the ordinary. House cleanup.
well, I got to review the bills, over the weekend, so I would say I move that we approve the treasurer's list of claims and bills.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item number 4, 4, discuss and take action to approve the treasurer's monthly report.
Okay, so there is a typo. I put September of 2025, but it's actually October of
Right,
2025.
right.
The checking for the general, the balance starting October was $1,162,731.30. There was debits and withdrawals of $743,492.10. And money coming into that account, receipts were $613,416.38. And the ending balance for October was $1,032,655.55. That was the ending balance for October. And I checked the bank, on Friday, which was the 7th, which we were down to $867,634, but we are seeing a little bit of the taxes starting to roll in.
Wonderful.
Which is good. Payroll for the month of October, I have the two, for October 10th and October 24th, for the whole month was $337,260.90. That's what we, for payroll in the month of October.
Okay. Any questions? Concerns? Discussion?
I'll move that we approve the treasurer's monthly report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item number 5, discuss and take action to approve the previous Commissioners Court minutes. Thank you.
There's 2 right here. Which one are you talking about?
There's 3.
Yeah, there's 3.
So, I looked at the minutes and I think October 8th is good, October 11th is good. But, Madam Clerk, on November 22nd, item number 8, the item read that it was a presentation discussion regarding cybersecurity for Presidio County by Mark Hanna of Nectar Computers. And as we know, Nectar wasn't here, and so I presented, which you have in the notes. But I think the second sentence where it says Presidio County needs an IT person on site to manage the cybersecurity. Cybersecurity needs to be changed to day-to-day maintenance and backup. Do y'all recall that?
Yeah.
Okay. And other than that, I think everything looks good.
Ms. Catania, you good with that?
Yes.
Okay, so you want to make a motion?
I
with,
will do that.
those changes?
I move that we approve the previous Commissioners Court minutes for October 8th, 2025, November 11th, 2025, and November 22nd, 2025, with the amendment to item number 8 as presented.
October.
What am I doing? We haven't gotten there yet, have we? How about, would you like me to rewrite that? Okay, October.
Do I have a motion?
Anyone want to second that motion?
A motion and a second by Commissioner Hernandez, all in favor?
All right.
All right,
Abstain, I wasn't here for those, the one meeting, but yeah, I'm sure.
Ms. Catania, did you get that? Then, Commissioner Knight abstained. Agenda item number 6, updates and or reports from Lone Star Strategy Group.
Good morning, Judge. Good
morning.
Commissioners.
Morning.
So attached, you'll just find a report. It's really basic. It's just from the visit that Ms. Yvette Utley had and a team member, Samson Rodriguez, when they came out here. Just some of the work that we've been doing.
Okay. Ramon, on number 4, it states that you met with Mayor Ferguson of Presidio to discuss the HB 3000 ambulance grant. And I guess I have a question. Did you also meet with Mayor Manny Baeza of
So,
Marfa?
I knew you were gonna ask that.
You
So
good
the
thing.
Is that we're scheduling that next. I just haven't had the time to reach out yet, but
Right.
that's something that I'm gonna do.
Perfect.
So we get both input and then, kind of see where they stand, what's their idea of it, if they've seen it. And then, have at least some time ahead since this opens in January.
Right.
And we'll start, dictating from there if this is something we want.
Yeah. Have any of
Thanks
the,
for knowing my mind, Ramon. I do want to say that, I go to other commissioners' courts. And what I find is being the most successful with this ambulance grant, since it is to the county, it's not to Lone Star Strategy Group. They have appointed commissioners. They've created task force for this very thing. And it's usually like Brewster County, they have a commissioner from South County, a commissioner from North County. Then they have a city representative from Alpine, and then they have city from Marathon Interlingua, and then they have the EMS directors. So in that, this is only 500,000 and an ambulance costs 450,000. I'm going to strongly recommend that we create a similar task force so that we have good equity and we have no infighting and all that.
Mhm. And that's totally something that is in a foreseeable future, so we can prevent that.
Okay.
We can prevent-
Yeah, and if you could, it's like, I know that Ms. Utley was here, at our last meeting, but none of us really knew she was coming. Because I would have loved to have set up a meeting to discuss this very thing, because I have been going to not only the task force meetings in Brewster County, but also the Rio Grande COG on emergency management services. So I really want this for our county, Ramon, but I want to make sure that we do it in a very fair way.
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll make sure that she'll be out here pretty soon again, and we'll let y'all know so y'all don't get caught by surprise.
Okay. And then I'm also noticing number 5, initiated coordination with the new veterans officer. As you know, we have an agenda item, today on to discuss the office space for our VCSO. And, I will be supervising the VCSO. So, I'd really like coordination with any kind of grants that y'all are considering for veterans.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it.
Any other questions from other commissioners?
No, thank you so much.
Oh, Ramon, can I add something, please? Commissioner, Deirdre, we tried to reach out to the veteran officer a few times in this last couple weeks because, or since she was in, there are some grants that are open and they will be closing early December. And I believe there's 4 different applications that we need to complete. We tried to get them on this commissioner's court, but as you've, wanted the protocol that we speak to the officer of whatever department we're applying for first to get their okay with that. We tried to go that route. We were not successful. I sent out emails and we made phone calls, and we were not able to get her approval to put it on this commissioner's court. I know you'll have one more at the end of November, and we would really appreciate, I guess, some help on that since you are overseeing that office so that we can get the okay to put that on the next agenda to go ahead and apply because we have a very short turnaround now. It being, I believe it's due December 2nd. So if you all could, or if you could help us coordinate that meeting with her, we would really appreciate that.
What is-
That,
yeah.
that, I really appreciate that you're bringing that up, but we are nowhere close to being ready to meet those deadlines. We have to get an office set up, and Miss Estrada is going to have to go through onboarding with the Texas Veterans Commission. She has to understand
Training.
her primary job first before she can start meeting with the veterans and finding out what our veterans want. So I really appreciate that you've done that homework, Yvette, but I think that you will find that once Ms. Estrada gets settled in her office, that it may be more appropriate to do this for next year, to be very honest with you.
Okay, and then, but it's good that you mentioned that you'll be overseeing the department.
Yes.
That way, anything we come across, we'll also let you know.
Thanks.
We'll add a little bit more to
All
your
right,
plate, but.
all right.
Yeah.
That's okay. I welcome it.
What's a synopsis, just a synopsis of some of the grants that you're looking at?
I think Ms. Utley can speak to that.
Judge, we're looking at assistance with the vehicle, assistance with funding for that office for different programs, and none of these come with a match. So we figured that this would help you all get on your feet as you started this new office. But we have to have, I guess, the support of the office first to be able to move forward with this.
You don't think that's good?
No, I think that's fabulous, but today's November 12th, Frankie, and we get in so much trouble when we get into grants and we're not ready for them. Because once again, this is a grant that's just being written by Lone Star Strategy, but who manages the grant? So Denise is going to be going through so much training with other stuff. But what I would say is that if you're open to it, may I reach into you and maybe schedule a call for next week, and I'll make sure that Denise is on it too, because yeah, she needs a car, she needs additional funding, all those things. It's great that it's not a match, but I think we're getting the cart before the horse, to be honest with you.
What is the grant?
December 2nd.
Yeah, that's fast. Yeah.
Yeah, and if there's nothing set up yet, then we'll just kind of keep it in the back burner.
Yeah. Thank you, Ramon. Thanks for your understanding.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We'll move on to our regular agenda items. Number 7, discussion only, a presentation by Aaron Strauss with Bracata on courthouse annex security.
Good morning, y'all. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
How's everyone doing today? Good?
very well.
Good.
Amazing. Appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Aaron Strauss. I am from Verkada. I am based out of Austin, Texas. The reason I'm speaking with you today is I had a few conversations with Miss Karina Nunez regarding the courthouse and annex buildings security. Kind of a little bit of background about who we are and what we do. The idea is to keep your people and property safe, secure, and private, right? We want to make it an initiative of ours to bring awareness to courthouse security, as it is kind of unseen sometimes. The people who do work every day in all those buildings, of course, as well, your county being pretty large. She mentioned a few things that you guys deal with on a day-to-day basis operationally, and how that takes time away from what you guys need to be doing for your specific county day-to-day operations, right? So our position in this is to keep you all safer, make your lives a little bit easier, and provide you with a solution that is meant to last 10 to plus years, not something that would break down, be very, very, fiscally irresponsible. I'm a consultant in this, and I like the discussions to be interactive. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please voice them to me, because I'm happy to talk through those.
Hey, Aaron, I know this is discussion only, but I do want to remind the court that before we can move forward on any kind of security for our annex or our courthouse, we have to ensure that, I believe it is the Courthouse Security Funds Committee meets, which Judge Monty Kimball will have to call. I met with Judge Kimball on November 4th, and I reminded him of that he needs to call a meeting of the Courthouse Security Funds Committee so that we can start looking into what we want to do with either the annex or the courthouse. Are you familiar with that, Aaron?
Got it. Yes, in the process that I've taken with a few other counties that I work with, specifically around you guys, as well as some organizations within your county, it's fairly similar. And you guys mentioned, you talk about grants and a lot of funding opportunities. One thing we do here at Verkada is provide you guys with those resources, as well as a partnership with Lexipol to find grants and actually have someone write them for you and stay on top of it, and actually specifically have them pertain to what you guys need and the things that you may be lacking. So if that is something that you're interested in, I'd be happy to connect you guys with someone and help that process. But just for some information, right? Some neighboring counties, Upton County, right? Andrews County, Anderson County. We recently rolled out a deployment at Marfa, the school district over there. We work with Sul Ross State University over in Alpine. We work with Terlingua, CSD, a pretty smaller size school district, a little bit south of you guys as well. So just to give you a little bit of idea, right? No matter if you're an extremely large county or an extremely small county, we work with counties and school districts and organizations of all size. The idea here, right, is you guys have buildings all throughout Marfa and Presidio. You have 2 offices, right? You guys have, sewage facilities. You guys have, obviously, the county courts and annex buildings. You guys have public works, and it's very, very hard to manage, all those buildings. And in the event that something happens, being a very limited staff, it takes you away from your day-to-day job. So, we are bringing awareness to these situations and how to handle them properly. Some things we like to think about, which kind of, helps open your eyes, right, is for those sewage facilities and wastewater. How do you monitor compliance standards, right? That is an issue we see through a lot of our counties. That is something we can help with. Utilities, right? You have multiple facilities all around the county. How much time does it take, spending, running around trying to make sure that these are being monitored, that there's no illegal dumping, right? That there's no vandalism, nothing occurring at these facilities. Parks and Rec, How do you secure boundaries on certain parks? How do you eliminate targeted vandalism? You know, it's something that we see day in and day out. And this is something that we, you know, help operationally for a lot of our counties. You know, you mentioned emergency management and connecting all the pieces between certain emergency situations and how we escalate that to, you know, the utmost priority. You know, that's something that we particularly excel in, if I may say. So, you know, the idea here, right, like I mentioned, is to make your guys' lives easier while also keeping everyone a little bit more secure. I do not know how much time you guys allocated for this presentation. I do have a PowerPoint as well as our command organization as a whole, kind of where everything is housed. Not sure if you were interested in seeing that, but I do not want to take up too much time if there was an allocated amount.
Well, Aaron, given the fact that, first of all, we have to have this committee meeting. Go ahead.
I did want him to speak with you, and Flo wanted to hear him about the panic buttons. That is something I would like, that's why I asked him to.
So will he be speaking
Yes.
specifically, because we all know we don't have any parks in Presidio County anymore?
I know, this is what I asked him
Okay.
to come and present.
Okay.
was
Panic
Panic
button.
buttons, that's something we were looking into.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, because our last contract, if y'all remember,
Yes.
lapsed and we did not
Right,
enter back
right.
into it, so this is us trying to pick up. The panic buttons right now do still work. We tested them, or we tested a couple of them, and they are still connected to the ER dispatch services, to the dispatch services. But they will no longer be serviced and they're already quite old, so this is us picking up the courthouse security services.
so can we act upon that before the committee meets?
Well, no, this is a presentation only.
Okay,
And from one of the companies, there's multiple companies out there, so I think
Right.
the idea is hopefully we can get a couple presentations from a couple different companies,
Okay.
and some quotes before we make a decision.
gotcha.
And this is just one of them.
Okay.
It's also to remind you, the courthouse security budget is very limited, so we also need to look at costs.
Right. Right. So Aaron, it sounds like, Karina and Forcita would love to see your presentation. Did you happen to tailor that just towards panic buttons?
I can. That is not a problem at all.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, appreciate that. Definitely something that you mentioned was an issue, right? You guys have had that solution for 3 to 5 years, and they currently do not work as well as you would like. You know, some of the things that she mentioned that were an issue was in the event that a panic button doesn't work, you all don't know. And then in the event an emergency occurs, if that panic button does not work, it is clearly not going to do its job, right? In our situation, we provide a solution that basically connects every building in your whole county, whether they're together or, you know, hundreds of miles away. And in the event that you push that button, right, it's supposed to be a silent panic button. So if there was an emergency, an intruder comes in, is causing some threat to, you know, your county personnel, you would click this button and it would automatically alert the local police. It would tell them, hey, there is an emergency that needs immediate assistance at X location, right? And then they will send out a unit or dispatchers to, you know, assess the situation and obviously handle it the way it should be. The idea that we have is it's a all-in-one solution. So in a perfect world, you would have cameras set up, and then police would be able to go in and view those cameras for you automatically. You know, this is in the event that someone comes into the courthouse and is causing a threat. They want to know exactly where this person is and what they're doing before they step on at the scene. Not only does it help protect you all, but it helps protect your first responders. Did someone have a question? I'm sorry.
No, we're listening. We're listening.
Got it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. This will only take a few minutes just to kind of show you what it looks like. But it's pretty simple. You have an emergency, you click this button, the police are notified immediately. They can either call you to confirm that it is an emergency, or you can customize the setting to have them automatically dispatch when this is pressed. The amount of time that this saves in the event of an emergency is honestly unimaginable. You know, we work with a lot of different cities and counties throughout Texas. A lot of school districts utilize panic buttons because we know, you know, in today's day and age, school districts, you know, they have to have this level of security. Marfa, right? ISD. We just rolled out a project there. They utilize our panic buttons. Brian Salcido is someone who I work with. He's the IT director over there. I'm sure he could give you some sort of insight into how they utilize it. But it's a pretty simple flow and it's a pretty simple process. The idea here is everything is online. We utilize something called hybrid cloud solutions. Basically, what this means is you can access this system from anywhere. It doesn't matter if you are in Austin, Texas. It doesn't matter if you are in, you know, Canada or halfway across the world, maybe overseas in Europe. You can access your system from your phone, from your laptop, from tablets. It really doesn't matter and is completely limitless. This is what we like to call our home page on Verkada Command, your one-stop shop for all of your security needs, whether it be cameras, whether it be access control for your doors, right? Or whether it be the panic buttons, like we are talking about now through our alarm system. It's all accessible through this one page. So rather than having multiple different systems working hand in hand, we condense it all into one and provide you guys with all the necessary resources to have a fully functional and you know, long-lasting security system. Little bit of background about kind of what we offer, right? With our solution, we have 2 line items, hardware and software. There's no hidden fees, no costs. All of our products come with a 10-year warranty. Being someone who works with a lot of Texas organizations, that is big because weathering happens, you know, the dust, the heat, occasional rain. Obviously, when we can get that, we will take it. But everything comes with a 10-year warranty. If something stops working properly, we send you a new one completely for free up to 10 years. We have automatic firmware and software updates. This is a big thing as well. If you're an iPhone user or an Android user, you get those new software updates that provide you with the faster processing, new features. That is what our products do. So they're getting better as time goes on. They're getting the new features and functionalities. AI is the new buzzword nowadays. And as time goes on and we're coming out with new capabilities, you all get those completely for free. Lastly, the 24/7 customer base or customer support that is US based is unmatched. You do not have to call someone on the phone waiting for them to get back to you 30 minutes to an hour. Someone responds within 30 seconds to a minute and can solve 95% of issues. Those are a few things that we kind of, you know, tip our hats on, right? Those are reasons why some customers love us. But regarding the panic button specifically, I'm sure you guys are interested in how those. You guys have any questions about anything that I happen to just go over?
Karina, over?
How many panic buttons do we have currently?
Every desk is supposed to have one. I don't remember the number, and Gary is it here. I built a spreadsheet when I was starting that had the exact amount of seats, but I gave that to Gary's, I don't know.
Do you have a ballpark, 25?
Oh, no, more than that. Every desk has one, and most back offices have one also.
Okay.
Just in case you have to run for an active shooter or something, there needs to be a place where everybody can go to.
There's some of the places you wouldn't expect, like the jury room, all the
Yes.
courtroom, some of the desks in there, where it should be, obviously.
And then all of them in video. I really can't tell you those are just now.
Yeah.
But they are needed. They really, really are needed.
Well, my suggestion would be just to try to, I guess, find your old spreadsheet, give us a firm number. It wouldn't hurt for us to at least have a quote in hand to see what it would run us. And then we'll just keep moving forward with the process.
Everything you're seeing is also available to trial completely for free. You can test it out for 30 days. Our alarm system may be one of the more difficult products to trial, but I'd be happy to come help you guys set that up if you were interested. You know, in a perfect world, the way that ARFA school district is utilizing it is they have access control on doors, and that integrates with our panic button. So when someone clicks this button, they can lock down the whole school district with the click of a button. So if there was an active shooter outside, maybe a parent who doesn't have custody of a child and they're acting enraged, right? They click this button, it locks every door, keeps whoever is outside of the building out, and then the police will be notified and they come solve the situation.
Aaron, does that come with, will we have to build in the infrastructure to make all our doors locked? I mean, so it's a panic button, but we would have to have that infrastructure, right? To make that happen?
Correct. You know, it depends on the type of doors you guys have, but we did just release a line of wireless locks, which makes this whole process a lot easier. So rather than electrifying the whole door and having the strike and everything be electrified, it comes directly from that locking mechanism, which can tell you if one, the door is open, the door was forced open, the door was broken into, if the actual latch on the door is shut. It goes unnoticed because a lot of times, you know, doors may not be functioning properly and the access control reader tells you that the door is locked. But when that slip or clip isn't actually into the door frame, someone may still be able to get in. But you know, kind of all in all, if you're looking here on the left side, this will give you a little bit of an idea kind of how it works. We have a few different locations where we have panic buttons. You can see our front desk at our headquarters in San Mateo. We have our entrance at another office on our B Street. We have our store right over at headquarters in San Mateo. We do have an office in Mexico City as well, at our experience center that has a panic button. So whether it be in Texas, in Mexico, you know, even in England and the other offices we have, you can get the data of what's kind of happening with these panic buttons. If I were to jump into one of these panic buttons to see what's been occurring, you can see, right, when it's offline and what the status is. And not only can you see this here, but you can be notified of it. So rather than having to figure it out yourself, whether the panic button is functional or not, and of course, you know, hopefully that is not an emergency situation, you would know immediately if the battery ran out. You would know immediately if the internet connectivity was not strong enough. And not only does it notify you, but you have a backlog of every time that may occur.
And this is what we're looking at is just the most basic, right? Just a panic button to alert our dispatch that there's an emergency.
Yes,
Is
sir.
That's what we have currently, and I think that's really what we're just gonna focus on. Yeah.
Yes, sir. This is the same idea. With our solution, it does combine the cameras, doors, alarms, guest management, you know, all sorts of things, but it's not necessary to use it that way. We can position it for what is important to you, whether it just be the panic buttons and the capabilities they have. And if down the road you guys are interested in connecting a camera or connecting a door, that is completely fine. You know, phased approaches and scaled deployments are a very, very common thing for Verkada.
Is there any other questions that the commissioners have? Here's what we'll say. Thank you so much for that presentation, Mr. Strauss. We'll
Yes,
try
sir.
to get you a number. We'll try to get you a number. And then if you could throw us a quote, and give us time to start, moving forward.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. You know, I think if you guys were interested in trialing one of these products, I think that would be a good next step. Maybe if I were to connect with Karina, just to kind of show you what it looks like firsthand. If not, that is all good. And then we can get together and kind of talk about numbers and look at some floor plans that you guys may have.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you all so
Thank
much
you,
for your
Mr.
time.
All right, that was a discussion only. We'll move on to agenda item number 8, discussion with action to approve a resolution for Presidio County appraisal, stating allocation of our Presidio County votes for the Presidio County Appraisal District Board of Directors nominees.
So I had put this item on the agenda some time ago, just to make sure that we wanted to keep our current nominees, Ann Dunlap and Josie Simpson, and we approved that unanimously. Now is the step in which we allocate those votes for those two individuals.
Okay.
What I did, I had a conversation with Cynthia Ramirez on October the 6th. And she said that we could split them right down the line, which would mean that we give 1,025.5 votes to each Ann Dunlap and Josie Simpson.
Well, we're very appreciative that they're willing to continue to serve in that thankless role. So I think that was a motion,
Yes.
unless the commissioners have any questions.
I just appreciate that. There. It makes sense to divide. It was basic, if you get simple, it was like 2 and 1, correct?
Right, right.
No, if you split it in half, it works.
Right. And I just want to state to the court that Josie Simpson, I had to talk her into running, and she said 1 more year. So I think it would behoove us to start looking for someone. You'll note that both of our county representatives are from here in Marfa. So perhaps we can find someone in Presidio that might be willing to be our second county representative.
And I know of a couple that
Okay.
are willing to.
Well, TikTok, she's going to give us a year.
Yeah.
So I move that we approve a resolution for the Presidio County appraisal stating allocation of Presidio County votes for the Presidio County Appraisal District Board of Director nominees being 1,025.5 to Ann Dunlap and a similar amount, 1,025.5 to Josie Simpson.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item number 9, discussion with action to approve the short-term management contract regarding the Presidio County Golf Course and Vizcaíno Park.
So as everyone knows, the golf course was defunded on August the 27th. I believe I started meeting with the golf course committee on August the 28th, and we've been meeting quite some time. We finally have a short-term golf course management agreement, which I'm going to hand over to our very capable county attorney. Blair Park can discuss anything or answer questions, or I can answer questions for y'all as well.
So I drafted this agreement. It's this is for short-term management services whereby we are hiring the company to manage the golf course, both the landscaping services and to run the golf course, green fees, cart fees, etc. In this case, because we don't have a budget for it, rather than paying for the services, the agreement is that they run the golf course and keep the fees that they collect in order to continue running it. And they will also, under the agreement, be in charge of all the utilities. The only exception is that we have a water well out there that is being used to irrigate the golf course and always has, so that will be continued. They can continue to use that. Otherwise, hopefully everyone can see the agreement. It's 6 pages. I'm happy to dive into any specific questions if anyone has them. There's a requirement for general liability insurance, of course. And they have already obtained that insurance, and I've double checked the insurance coverages, and everything is compliant. Does anyone have any questions?
I think it's important that we point out that when we first started meeting, I was meeting with the Presidio County Golf Course Committee. And the Presidio County Golf Course Committee has now melded in cooperation, with a group that we are calling High Desert Golf, correct? And many of the representatives are here. They are working towards, they have a wonderful business plan. They will be using the short-term management is for 6 months, and then it will go into a month-to-month contract until that time in which Ms. Park and I can or basically Ms. Park, work out the request for proposal for a long-term lease. But what this does is it gives the High Desert Golf the opportunity to really look at what operations for that golf course is and actually help the county to understand what we need in a longer term lease. So I just want to be clear with everyone that whereas when we first started discussing this, it was just the Presidio County Golf Committee. Now it is the Presidio County Golf Committee working in concert with High Desert Golf. Did I nail that?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I should have covered more.
Right.
If you look at the contract and you're confused on why it says Curly Cup Gumweed LLC on the contract, that is because High Desert Golf Committee Association doesn't exist right now as a formed entity under the Secretary of State. And we are requiring as a county that any agreement that we enter into be with an entity that has been formed or registered with the Secretary of State. It takes a couple of weeks, especially because they are going to seek nonprofit status, nonprofit corporation status with Secretary of State. It takes a couple of weeks for that kind of process to go through. So rather than waiting, what we're going to do now is enter into an agreement with Curly Cup Gumweed LLC, which is one of Joey's pre-existing LLC, and that way they can go ahead and get started. And then once they have their nonprofit corporation status verified through the Texas Secretary of State, then they're going to come back and request an assignment where Curly Cup Gumweed LLC assigns the contract over to the nonprofit corporation. So that's why it has a funny looking LLC on there that no one's heard of. But otherwise, like Deidre said, it's just a short-term management contract while the county figures out, if and how we would like to do a long-term lease. And leasing of county property, as y'all know, requires an RFP procedure, which is more involved. This is something that we can enter into now without requiring an RFP procedure, looking out and putting it out there for quotes, which is specifically allowed under section 2620241 of the local government code. Any other questions?
So there's no monies exchanged
No money exchange, not between us and the entity.
and Curly Cup Gumweed LLC.
Correct. They will assess, park fees and driving fees and green fees, et cetera, out there and be able to keep those monies to continue running it.
Correct.
They will also be required to provide us with their insurance coverages, which they will be paying for. And they will also have to pay for all the utilities and maintenance and et cetera
Correct.
of the property out there. But yes, there is no, between Curly Cup and the county under this agreement, there is no monies being exchanged.
And we're obligated to maintain the water well.
Yes, and the reason that'll be until we enter into a long-term lease. Because it's still county property and because Road and Bridge does use that water well.
Right.
So it's not really in our position to tell them, you
Yeah.
can't have exclusive use of the water well, but you have to
Yeah.
pay for it. There is a maintenance provision in there for the water well, that they continue to upkeep and maintain it. But if, some drastic event occurred at the water well, that was bigger than just regular maintenance, that would be on.
I think there's gonna be a little bit of, they're gonna be using the water well, and if Road and Bridge goes, and if something breaks, you don't think there's gonna be a problem? Hey, well, you broke it. No, you broke it, cause you're using it, you know what I mean?
Can we have Mr. Joey Benton? He's been raising his hand. It sounds like he had something to say about this.
I'm Joey Benton, and I'm part of the group of people that has taken this on to steward this process from where we ended up in September to hopefully a request for proposal. With golf course open and available for our community while we do that. In the process of doing this, we are very excited about where this can go. And we've reached out to a lot of people in the community to help us with this. One of those persons is Jason Wood, who has volunteered his time and energy to deal with any issues that happen with the water line. So if there are costs within that, the cost will be parts, not labor, you know, so, and that saves us a tremendous amount of money on both sides of this agreement. So it's not gonna be a blame issue, it's gonna be like, what do we need to replace? And so I think that really gives us some financial support, which I consider to be one of our potentially most costly disasters. And I think we can work together on that.
Well, just so you all know, I got this stuff a little biased on it. But when I put on there about the water wells, the water well is currently, quote, the water well is currently existing on property and be used by the manager for the management of the golf course, including irrigation. The manager agrees to maintain the water well facilities in good working order. Manager understands that it does not have the exclusive use of the water well, and the county may from time to time use water from the water well for county use. I forgot to put the word for, the manager also understands that the water well is monitored by the Presidio County Underground Water Conservation District, who may enter upon the area for inspection of the water well facilities. Does anyone have any questions about the water well usage?
Mario, do you know when the last time it was serviced?
Maybe 5-6 years ago.
What's in there?
Wasn't service. They replaced the pump.
That-
That's when the pump burned up and everything.
So is it a submergible? Submergible pump?
Pump, yes.
And the water well, facilities that are, you know, of course have to have electric to them. The manager, the entity is required to provide the electric services and pay for the electric services that run the water well.
I got one question. At the end of 6 months, will the idea that somebody leases a golf course be we'll see what they've done and go from there on,
Well,
either leasing or not.
yeah,
or,
no,
you know.
regardless, we
Okay.
have to put out an RFP.
Right, I understand.
And the reason that we're calling this short term because we put a time limitation of 6 months. Then it goes month to month because we tend to overwhelm our county attorney with drafting a lot of legal documents for us. So we wanted to make sure we could build some time in to make sure that, you know, are we ready to put it out? And that lease will go out to everyone. Hopefully these folks here are in good position and they'll say whether or not they still want to do this. But this does not ensure that this entity will get the lease. Correct, Claire?
Right,
Well,
so buddy, I understand, so you weren't here whenever we, entered into the procedures and county,
Right.
RFP procedures work on county property. We are legally required to have an RFP procedure.
Yeah, I
We do- In
understand
the
that.
county, we do them now as a sealed bid procedure. So, the county commissioner's court agrees to put up a certain county property up for RFP. It goes out to the public, anyone in the public can submit a sealed bid to lease or purchase, whatever the case may be, a piece of property owned by the county under the county's terms.
I just-
The RFP has to be open for a certain period of time.
Right,
In most situations, in something as large and as convoluted as a golf course, a committee would likely be formed by the commissioner's court, and the committee would then be in charge of reviewing and analyzing those sealed bids once the RFP procedure has closed. And then the committee would come to commissioner's court with its recommendation saying, here are the bids that we received, here's the bid that we are recommending that y'all approve, and then it can be approved. So it is not, we cannot guarantee before that
Right.
time period, we cannot guarantee anyone or any entity will be
I think-
awarded a lease. et cetera.
right. I think just what I was at, more than anything, I just asked, at the end of that term, we'll have more knowledge on what it really was, what we could do, and then you issue an RFP.
Yes, and we'll also have, the financial
Right,
statements for it. I know at the
Yeah.
current time, our financial statements are kind of a
right.
mess for the golf course. And that will also help to establish how we run the RFP, because an RFP on a business is much more convoluted than an RFP just on a regular, like the Bull Barn. You know,
Right.
there was not a business being run there, so it was very simple. This will be much more involved, because people who are putting an RFP on a business essentially are, we're required to give them access to the financial documents that,
Sure,
you know, involve the running of the business, so they can evaluate the business itself.
sure.
And
No,
Buddy-
I'm ecstatic that they wanna do it. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah,
I really, it's, you know, I don't know how many
I think-
people over the years have told me how great a little course it was, and I'd hate to lose it, so I appreciate you guys.
And Buddy, by having this short-term management contract, it will also hopefully allow the High Desert Golf to inform what an RFP might
Right.
need to look like, you know, so.
Right.
and it's a very well-written agreement, Ms. Parks. And I'll remind the court, it does have a 30-day opt-out for either party.
Yes, terminating clause.
And we hope that's not triggered. We hope that you guys become very successful. And we hope that, and I like the fact that we can move from month to month after that, because it may not be enough time.
Yeah, and the reason I did that is say the RFP procedure ends up taking 8.5 months.
Yeah.
And it's on an odd
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
We'll go to month and then have that 30 days
Yeah.
to say, okay, the lease is coming into effect on, you know, May 17th, 2026.
Yeah.
Then on April 18th, we can issue the termination for the 30 days. And it worked in tandem with when a new.
In lockstep,
comes into
yeah.
play. So that was the reason why I dropped it that way.
Yeah, 6 months seems to be a short time to really you know,
It really
what
is.
assets
Yeah,
really work.
It's a minimum and then a month and then a month.
Right. Okay,
Automatic approvals.
that's good.
Any other discussion? I'll entertain any motion.
Yeah, I'll move that we approve the short-term management contract with Curly Cup Gumweed LLC, love it. Regarding the Presidio County Golf Course, Blair, you might notice that this is golf course in this Guyana Park.
Yeah, we need to take base on our.
Right.
Yeah, the pay for it's not part of it, so that'll be removed. And it's not part of the contract.
Okay, so my motion is that I move that we approve the short-term management contract with Curly Cup Gumweed LLC regarding the Presidio County Golf Course.
Okay, so I have a motion.
Go ahead. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I have a second by Commissioner Ortiz. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. Do you mind if we get out a little bit out of order? And we jump to 11?
No, I do, because there are people here that really want to get this done. And there are people on Zoom that really want to get this done.
Okay, so you want to go into number 10?
Right.
It's a native flower native to the Solana Desert. It's also part of the word story of and the inundated with truth. It grows in the creeks all around here. It's not that weird.
Hey, I almost brought that up.
All right. So I'm gonna.
Thank y'all.
Good luck. So we'll move on. I wanted to get out of order and the commissioner Deirdre wants to go ahead and stick with the number. So I'm gonna call agenda item number 10. It's discussion with action to approve the Veterans County Service Officer moving into the Presidio County Annex, formerly established as a Commissioner's Court office immediately. And I'm gonna go into executive session. And I am going to cite the local government code 551 .071, consultation with attorney, and local government code 551 .074, personnel matters. So, do I make that as a motion and a vote?
No, you just announce the executive,
So-
and then you close
Okay.
open session, and then we'll go into closed session, and then we can bring everyone back in after the closed session, and then reopen the open session.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm gonna go ahead and it's 11:07. Be right back.
Executive session. I'm good. I'll be from. And then we'll have. Yeah, yeah.
Now you're out.
sure what the hell he's doing. He's good.
AJ.
Look at him. There.
Moving into the City of County.
The sound is messed up.
On October 22nd meeting, when we unanimously appointed Ms. Estrada, and I asked for this office space, but this is far from fact. Judge Portillo voiced that our VCSO should be officed in the American Legion during our last meeting, but this is most inappropriate at this time, for there is no secure interior office space within this facility that I'm aware of, nor is it in an appropriate place. It should also be pointed out that Presidio County has a history of providing office space for our former VCSOs within the annex. This is a county employee, and veterans typically look for their veteran service officers within county courthouse annexes. I have personally had numerous exchanges with county departments within the annex since Ms. Estrada was appointed. The commissioner's office is vacant, and I have received support from the tax assessor collector's office, the road and bridge department office, and the Presidio County Appraisal District office to allow Ms. Estrada to move into her office and begin the task of working with our valued veterans who have been underrepresented by Presidio County for a while. A little history that some of y'all may recall. During our recent budget workshops, to be specific, on August 7th, 2 members of the court felt that the VCSO and our emergency management coordinator departments should be defunded. Thankfully, Commissioners Court pushed back on August 13th and kept the 2 departments in our fiscal year 26 budget. And at a court meeting on August 20th, heavily filled with veterans in the audience, the court took an action by unanimous vote of 5-0 to keep these important departments. As stated previously, Our new VCSO was appointed on October 22nd by a unanimous vote, but immediately after the games began. I want to state that office space can only be appointed by an action of the Commissioner's Court, and that was spelled out in Attorney General's opinion number JM-1054. Precedents for office space in a county facility was when our treasurer needed additional office space, came before the court and got approval. The county clerk's office, when they needed additional space for elections, came before the court and got approval. And most recently, when I was looking for a space to office in this courthouse, I came before the court. On October 25th, I crafted an email to Judge Portillo and copied the PCAD director and the county auditor and our VCSO in an attempt to resolve the issue of not allowing the VCSO to move into the annex. I wanted to do so in an amicable manner and also to inform the judge of the established protocol to occupy an office in county facilities and requested that he call me to discuss this as soon as possible. I did not receive a phone call back, nor the courtesy of an email response. So I then called Joe for our VCSO was on the county payroll starting on October 22nd and was ready to go to work. There are also many more documented steps that I have taken to ensure that everyone is in support of the VCSO officing in the annex. On October 30th, I received a heated telephone call from Commissioner Margarito Hernandez at 9:40 a.m. Commissioner Hernandez repeated verbatim many of the statements that I had heard from Joe over the past few days. What was disturbing to me was when Margarito said, "I am in charge of the annex," which is not true. Margarito supervises the maintenance of the annex, much like Commissioner Knight supervises the maintenance of this courthouse. Then Commissioner Hernandez told me, "I have told Susie not to change any locks." And I said, "Fine, I am placing this issue on the agenda for November 12th. Then Hernandez stated, "We do not need Commissioner's Court approval." Not true according to section 292.0004004 of Local Government Code. But what really floored me was when Commissioner stated, and I have no reason to misrepresent this quote, "It is dangerous to have veterans in the annex around the public. We have lots of public coming into the annex." If this is true, our judge is a veteran. Should he be in the annex or courthouse? On October 31st, I crafted another email to Judge Portillo and copied our county attorney. In this email, I implored Joe to please meet with me and attempt to resolve this issue. I also informed Joe that I placed the issue on the agenda for today's meeting. Once again, I received no response from the county judge. On Saturday, November 8th at 2:48 p.m., Ms. Estrada received a telephone call from our former county attorney, Rod Ponton. Rod informed Ms. Estrada that Commissioner Hernandez had called him to request that he offer Denise office in his business offices, which Mr. Ponton complied with. I am uncertain if this request originated from Margarito or if he was once again acting in Judge Portillo's direction. I'm going to scratch this because I should not say this. I will remind the court that we do not have any kind of budget to be renting any additional office space when we have a perfectly good vacant office space available. In closing, I've been challenged on every step of my attempt to have a Veterans County Service Officer for the valued veterans of Presidio County. First by attempting to defund the position, and now by attempting to block the VCSO from taking her office in numerous ways and doing the work that she is passionate about doing. This begs the question, what do y'all have against veterans? I would open this up now to any public that wants to speak on this particular agenda item. If you would come forward, say what your name is, and speak so that we can get it recorded. Thank you, sir.
Okay, right here.
Yes, sir.
My name is Kim Thornsberg, and I grew up here and moved back about 11 years ago. By the way, Miss Deidre, you speak loud enough where I can hear you. And if you could just be a microphone. But anyway, but I lost all my hearing, and I realized it. I'm back here screaming at me yesterday at the veterans thing that I wouldn't stand up and do things. But in 2005, I have to go back to 2005. I got out of the Navy, and I was a search and rescue pilot for the Navy and the Coast Guard for 7 years, and mostly helicopters. And when I left the Navy, they said, "You don't have your hearing. It's gone." I said, "What's gone?" And they said, "Your upper level, it's over with. So you have to go to VA and get help." So now it's at a point where I honestly can't hear anything. But it's just the way it is. But in 2005, I decided to go to the veterans finally and get to my wife. I got married and she was that mad at me because I wouldn't go do something. So I was in Victoria, Texas. I went to the VA office and told them that, and they asked me, you know, everything about whatever. But my records was burned up. So they had to just take my word for it. When I finally had it all done, of course, there's a whole lot of people in there. I'm making it dramatical, but there were a lot of people in there. The chief, he said, "Okay, all you have to do is tell me what campaign you were in." I said, "Well, I was in Vietnam." He took my whole file and tore it up, put it in the trash can in front of everybody and says, "You don't get any benefits at all." And that was it. That was 2005. I don't know what happened. I can't tell you I know. I don't know. All I know is they said no. So I tried a few times after that, and I just gave up. So then I moved here 11 years ago. And they had some young kid over there in the USO building, and I went in and talked to him. I told him the whole story, and he said, "I never heard of that." And I said, "Well, if it's not true, then can you help me?" So he did a whole lot of paperwork and submitted it. I guess it ended up in El Paso, even though that's not where I'm supposed to be, Big Springs. But he talked to us. He said, "I have a friend," and he talked to them, and I got a letter from VA eventually. That kid, whoever he was, I got a letter, and it said they're going to give me a 10% disability. Well, how did that happen? So, because then he wasn't there anymore, and I needed more help because it got to where I can hear. And I say I can hear. I can't. You're the only one I can hear. Anyway, so I started going back over there, but he was gone. And then I tried for several years, and there was never anybody there in that office. And so I went to El Paso, and I introduced myself to some people up there, and all of a sudden, a lady. It's always a lady in my life. She said, "What are you talking about? You have benefits." And I said, "You don't need an ID." I said, "I thought I had to have that." She said, "No, you do not need that." And she got me all set up. And they gave me all these things, but it just doesn't work on me. And, I can hear things if it's loud enough, but the words, I'm sorry, I can't understand your words. And they finally gave up on me and said, it is never gonna happen. Earplugs can't do that, or the earphones. So, that's where I am now. But I do know, if it hadn't been for that young boy over there, I never would have gotten this far. And so I thank y'all very much for whoever put him in there. And it was a blessing to me, and I ended up getting back, so it will help me now with other things, not just hearing. But my hearing is just gone. And I wrote, I tried to get on my own, try to get the government to help me for more than 10%. But I failed all the tests. And they keep giving you tests. Why? If you fail one, why do I keep taking them? And I don't want to cheat on it. It's strange, those tests they have. I'll tell you what. They don't even watch you. It's just nuts how they do the tests. So, but I have a lot of friends, I'll just not mention any names. They're well over 80% on hearing. And they get all kinds of benefits. I would like to have that, but I know they can't help me now for hearing. I know that. So, I'm very thankful for the VA. But it'd be nice if they would recognize that I lost my hearing. And they have not. So, and there's nothing I can do about it. I understand that. I'm not telling anything, but I'm just saying that I like the fact that he led me in the right direction. And I wouldn't have, I did get 20%, so now I have 20, but it would never have happened had meant for that boy. So you guys, that office meant a lot to me. And not only that, I have full coverage now. They pay for everything. I wouldn't have had any of it had meant for that boy. So thank y'all. I don't know who to thank, but I sure thank him wherever he is.
Jaime Juarez.
Jaime
Juarez.
That's right. You know the guy? Where is he?
Harlan.
Yeah, well,
Yes,
listen,
ma'am.
that's all. I don't want to take your time, but it is true. There are people that can help us. And I love Martha Paul Lowe so much. And, but I wish I had to hear it, but I don't. But anyway, thank you all for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. for
Thank you,
that.
Ken.
Thank you for inviting me here today. I'm James Webb. I moved back here in June of 1998, and Webb family's been in Presidio County since the 1940s, so 10 more years I'll be a local. Anyway, I'm a Navy veteran, and I've been on Social Security disability since 2001, and the last 3 years I have started looking into veterans benefits. Felt I had more of a need for it at this point. I started working with Adam Daly in Brewster County. He helped me get some medical benefits. I have 50% disability now. And Mr. Tavares, who was here till recently, until he moved, and he helped me with some benefits as far as counseling and one-time electrical bill assistance and rental assistance. I really want to say that it's not just about me. There's veterans that are 100% disability, or they should be in some cases. And as a percentage of the population, there's a lot of veterans in our large but kind of sparsely populated county. And I really think that the Veteran Service Officer of the BCSO in this case really deserves all of our help and any aid we can give her, and she definitely needs an office. If a disabled vet working for a home has a home office, she should have 100 times what I have in my thinking. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, James.
My name is Dawn Shannon. I'm not a veteran, but I am a local. I had the really wonderful opportunity to work with Armando Garcia, who was our Veterans Affairs Officer. And as far as I'm concerned, there never was anybody as good as Armando was. I volunteered to help him. He taught me a lot. One year when the group here not this group, the Commissioner's Court did not fund flags for Memorial Day. He got us going. We went out and got people to help, and we had flags. Armando was the best. After him came Harlan Hardy, who was also excellent. Harlan's on, okay. He, once again, he worked his heart out. After that, it was a long slide down, as far as I'm concerned. I know the young man helped you, but that young man was not capable of ordering flags for Veterans Day one year. We had to do an emergency order and get things flown in from San Antonio at the last minute because he only had one vendor and he couldn't get flags. Well, I have helped put flags out on on Memorial Day for years. I finally quit because the Veterans Affairs officers weren't coming through with any help. The last 2 years, it's been a disaster. 2 years ago, we had plastic flags. We had the school superintendent take a group of students out to put flags out. They didn't know what they were doing. They were not shown what to do. This last year, we had military men, whatever that means, put out flags. They didn't know what they were doing. It was the biggest mess I've ever seen. We need a veterans service officer who cares, who's willing to do the job, who's willing to learn, who's willing to put out the effort, something we have not had in the last, 4 or 5 years, I'd say. So I'm for anything that will help the new Veterans Affairs officer get started and do a job for our, what was it, you called it, underrepresented veterans? I'd say the last several years, we haven't just had our veterans underrepresented, we've had ineffective leadership bordering on incompetent. And we need somebody that we can trust that will do the job. She needs an office in a county venue, not in a, well, American Legions to me are like beer halls. I mean, just drinking and having a good time and visiting with other veterans. I don't see that as a place for a serious office that has personal information that veterans don't need to have in that situation. So I'm all for Denise Estrada having an office where she deserves to have it. She needs an office here. I guess it will be here at the courthouse. I don't know what happened to the office at the USO building. I thought that was great with the displays they have there of all the military stuff. But anyway, I'm all for Denise. I'm all for her having a good office. And we definitely need this because the job has not been done well up to this point.
Thank you, Don.
Morning, Commissioners.
Gentlemen.
Mark Morrison, I'm City Councilman in Marfa, Mayor Pro Tem here in Marfa, but also a veteran. And so I just wanted to say that I think it's fantastic that we're gonna have the Veteran Service Officer here in Presidio County. Because whenever I got out of the Navy in '93, I went to a small town, but it was outside of Killeen, Texas, where Fort Hood is. Second largest Army base for the US Army in the world. So whenever I needed services, you couldn't swing a dead cat without getting services because there were so many veterans there. My cousin, on the other hand, when he got out after Desert Storm, he went back to a little town called Parker, Arizona, which is the county seat of La Paz County. About the same size as Marfa. The county's probably very large. I mean, it's a huge county in Arizona, but it's also very similar to Presidio County where we have 3 hours each direction to get to either Phoenix or to get to Las Vegas. So he didn't have the same benefit that I had of just telling, hey, I just got out of the Navy and I might need something. They grab your arm and they're giving you forms and they're giving you intake and taking care of you. He ended up having to go back to his recruiting station over an hour drive away to ask what he could do to get services. So, for our remote county like we are, I think having this office is going to be fantastic. And, I do believe, just like everybody else has said, having an office where where they're going to be, it's going to be in an official area, they're going to be there, there's a phone number to call, and there's a physical place that they know is not going to change, and it's going to be confidential so they can shut the door, talk to the officer, and get their services started that they need. And so, having this office in a county facility, I think is going to be essential. And, so I'm hoping you're able to put it in the commissioner's office that's been vacant, because it seems like,
I know office space can be at a premium sometimes, but if we have an empty office space, you know, why not use it? And, you know, the only other thing that I would say, you know, be that Commissioner Hernandez here, I've been known to put my foot in my mouth, if you've, you know, seen what I've said a couple times at City Hall. And so perhaps that was a misstatement that wasn't taken as, you know, it was intended, and hopefully so. Because, you know, it's not a dangerous thing. It is now, I can see it'd be a concerning thing to not have privacy because of the privacy of the information that's talked about. So, you know, I would hope to give the benefit of the doubt that that was what was intended, not that it was a danger to have veterans in a county facility. Because it's just not true. But like I say, I put my foot in my mouth a few times, and so I understand that would happen. So I just hope y'all vote to get our county services, veteran county services officer into an office in the county facility so she can start getting to work. Thank y'all.
Is there anyone online that would like to make a statement?
Yes.
Alan, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, I will. I am retired Sergeant Major Harlan Hardy. I resided in Presidio County for about 32 years. I was a former veteran service officer for Presidio County. I actually was the one that convinced the judge to, at that time, to move the office from the third floor of the courthouse for the sake of veterans not having to use the elevator or stairs to get to my office. One, two, it was simply a partitioned room that I shared with another agent that I couldn't have any privacy at all with the veterans. No, you know, so they moved it. We found a little space down in the AMVETS building. Actually, it was a storeroom, and I turned it into an office, and that's where I worked out of until I left the office. And that young man's name was Jaime Juarez. He was an exceptional young Marine. He took that position when I left in 2017. And I convinced the Commissioner's Court to fund that position to the, I think, the current rate that it is now, so that your veteran service officer could be not just a certified officer, but an accredited officer. He can go directly into the VA systems to help the veterans. He doesn't have to go through the Texas Veterans Commission in Waco, Texas, or anywhere else, or Austin, to help a veteran. Other than that, I can't really add to the comments that you haven't already received from your community. I just can't say more than what they've said. They've said it. And, you know, your service officer, they are the voice for the veterans, their spouses, and their family members. And I'm sure some of you may have heard this line spoken by Abraham Lincoln. You know, it is to one who has borne the battle, to his widow and his orphan. That's what their job is. They have a mandate to take care of veterans. And so I'm very glad that Ms. Estrada has been selected. And I would ask the court to definitely give her whatever office space she needs, whatever equipment she needs, transportation to receive the training, the accreditation, so that she can help the county's veterans. I thank the court, I thank the judge, I thank the community for allowing me this input.
Thank you for your service.
Harlan, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I remembering correctly that you did, you officed up here, but you also went down to Presidio and kept regular offices in that commissioner's office that we're proposing?
Yes, at that time, my part-time salary covered 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And I would go down on Wednesday and spend that day in the middle of my 3 days at the annex in that commissioner's office, so I can make myself available for the veterans in Presidio. Absolutely. I would take my own personal laptop computer, get into the county system so that I had access, with my computer to do work for the veterans while I was there.
And
But the
Harlan,
thing
do
is,
you feel that?
you've got to
Sorry.
have a secure, place for them to be able to sit and meet and maintain your records and files on your veterans and people. Yes.
And Harlan, did you feel that that office was adequate for the needs?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Harlan.
You're welcome. And I just appreciate the opportunity for the input.
Teresa, are you wanting to speak?
Yes, hi, everybody. Teresa Jimenez, born and raised in Presidio. The whole family are veterans, grandfather, father, husband, 2 kids, and a grandkid. I just feel that we should give Mrs. Estrada that little office. I've been there in that little office, and I think it's appropriate. She needs just to keep her records secured, HIPAA. And it's in the corner. I sat there not too long ago. I think it was with Ms. Valdez, with Nancy. And it's just right. They can come in through the door and everything. And there's no issue about dangerous. I mean, if we're doing that, everybody's a danger in the public. Veterans are not excluded. I mean, they're not the only ones. Everybody has issues. So are we going to close the doors to veterans? No. And if the office was there already, why not give it to her? Give her the material she needs, computers, everything. There's money for that. Senator Blanco is aware of a lot of our counties have a lot of help for those veterans, and they need it. And she's willing to work hard and get it for them, because our veterans in that area, Marfa and Presidio, the Presidio County, are neglected completely. So I agree to let her have that office. It's the perfect size. She can keep files, lock them up, HIPAA, everything. And so she can start doing her job, because she's really working hard at it and wants to help everybody there, which they need. And they need to get access to a lot of stuff. And the money's there. The money is there, but they need somebody like Denise Estrada to go running, hit the road and get to doing all that stuff. She's getting paid for it. That's all.
Thank you, Ms. Jimenez.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
Yes, I have a letter given to me by Delphine Lopez. He's a veteran here in Marfa. I saw him at the veteran ceremony yesterday, and he asked that I read it out loud. My name is Delphine Lopez. I am a Vietnam veteran. Sorry I could not be here, for I got doctor's appointment in El Paso with the VA. Portillo, I guess he's talking to you, Joe. What do you have against the town of Marfa and its people? And the most important is the Marfa veteran. I thought the discussion of the VCSO was done about 2 months ago. But is there a reason for all this? Then, Portillo, you need to explain to us, Marfa veterans, why you are hurting us veterans more than you think here in Marfa. Delphine Lopez.
Ms. Park?
So I was just gonna comment on the secure of records. It is true that I believe, I don't deal with veteran records, that she will need to be handling confidential privacy record issues. I don't think, I haven't been in that office in a really long time, but I don't think it has a locking cabinet. And I don't know that there's any other locking cabinet that's available to her. I have a locking cabinet.
Yeah, I have a couple too that I'm not using. that
Okay.
one key and-
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've got a locking cabinet, I have records in it now, but I just thankfully, because of my grant monies, I was able to buy a new filing cabinet. And so I can make space and I'm happy to transfer my locking filing cabinet asset over to the victim victim. I got that stuck in my head. Over to the veteran, the VCSO office.
She will happily receive those.
You'll
Thank
just
you,
need
thank
to
you, Carrie. Thank
Coordinate
you,
the
Blair.
movement of it, I'm not moving any furniture in the state.
I'm happy to do it for her.
Anyone else? Yeah, and I hate that someone would think that I'm against veterans. Anybody that knows me, knows when I first arrived back in Presidio after my career, my goal was to get the American Legion open. I also come from a long line of veterans. My grandfather was World War II veteran. I have, 3 siblings that served along with me in the military. Many of my uncles in Vietnam, in the Korean War. My son is currently in the National Guard. He just ETS'd out of the regular army. So I have no ill will. As a matter of fact, yesterday we had a great event, with the 112th, Infantry Battalion, at the Legion. I am all for it. I think if I give that impression, it's not the impression I mean to give. It's all about just fiscally where we at. How much money do we have? How much we can, do I have concerns? Obviously, yes. I mean, there's a huge complexity to get to be successful with the VA. I don't think anyone would argue that the VA, I hate to say it, I think it's broken. I think the amount of paperwork and the bureaucracy of it gets people like yourself that needed help. And very oftentimes, the easiest thing to do is just say, no, we're not going to do it. It is a blessing to be in, like you mentioned, Fort Hood. I think it's Fort Hood again, was Fort Cavazos, and then it was Fort Hood, and so it's changed again. But you have Fort Bliss, where obviously it's I think it's the largest military installation. But you have access to hospitals and counselors and nursing homes, and it's home to many, many veterans. So obviously that's where the federal government has most of their resources. So I would hope people that know me know what veterans mean to me, because they do hold a very special place in my heart. But you were going to say something, Commissioner.
Yes, well, you have to understand, this is not a discussion where we don't appreciate our veterans. We don't appreciate, it's not that of a fact to me. Maybe somebody wants to put it like that and make us look bad, but it's a respect, I'm gonna say, I respect your jobs, and I respect every veteran here in the United States. And I've been for 27 years, I've been law enforcement. I started as a deputy in Presidio. Right now I'm a police officer, and I'm also a commissioner. As far as I can tell you, when I go to a call or when I'm on a traffic stop, I've seen a veteran stop by next to me, and I appreciate that. If I go to a call and there's a veteran, I know my back is covered. The reason we're here is because of that small building. And as I started as a deputy, we had the office there where the appraisal district is. It was very bad and very sad to try to get a statement or take pictures of a victim that had to come through the main door and go all the way to the office. And then when everybody's hearing what happened, and she'll have to say what happened, if she got beat up by the husband or whatever, and everybody's listening outside. People getting plates, people paying their taxes. And it makes me feel sad because I'm not really going against veterans. What I was saying is that we're not gonna put our veterans officer in a closet. Because that office, however we call it, commissioner row office or whatever, it's a main exit for the back. In case of a fire or or somebody crazy shooting, that's where the tax office can exit. And the other employees can come out through there. Another thing, there's a door inside that mini office where the maintenance lady has to get her buckets or mops, brooms and everything back and forth, and the gentleman that helps her out. O sea, why are we trying to do something like that, just, okay, self-procedural, but stuck them in a closet, we're gonna have a VA officer there. It's gonna be very specific. Somebody asks, where's your veterans officer? Oh, you just go across that annex, there's a metal door right there on the corner. Just go ahead and come on in. And yes, I did call and that's one of the calls that I said, that told Mr. Heiser that it was unsafe. Why? Because in case of a fire or something, it's gonna be a problem. Now, veterans, I know veterans have sworn to deserve their country from foreign and domestic enemies. You know how many people come into the tax office and they almost want to get the lady from the tax office down because their taxes are high, because they raise their taxes. Yeah, when we were there, sometimes we had to come out, and I was doing a report, I had to come out and hey, lower that, because of the problems. Now that little bitty room, I respect the veterans, and I think they deserve a better office. That's one of the reasons I called Rob Ponton. I asked him, how much is the lease for the offices in front of Nietzsche's department store? Those are really nice offices. They just built them up, It was like old buildings, but they fixed them up real good. And that's one of the reasons I called them. Why? Because why can't we have an office where it's right in the main street, marked and showing that it's for veterans? So that whenever they need the help, they can come by. We not only help the veterans in procedural, but veterans that come through also. I've seen a gentleman, I don't remember his name, but he's on a van, and he comes to procedural very often, he's always looking, do the veterans have any help? So why not have a nice building for the veterans? I know we didn't budget for it, but we approved, and I think all of us agreed, I agreed that we need a veterans officer. We need that help for our veterans. So why not get a good building? Why try to pile it up, she's not gonna be comfortable, and she's gonna make the ladies that work there uncomfortable. Why? Because that door is where they come in and they go out. Before they open the office, or when they go to lunch or come back from lunch, that's where they come in. Because people pile up on the door. I've seen the line there, waiting, and they want to ask questions, and they want you to help them out. So the ladies come in through the back door, they get everything ready, and okay, go to the door, and people start coming in. That's one of the reasons that I think we need a better office. And the way they want to make it look like it's bad, no, it's not bad. I'm not going because I don't want the veterans to have a PA office. I want a better building for the veterans office, where veterans can feel comfortable, because she's gonna need a computer, she's gonna need a printer, a fax, she's gonna need a phone line. Yeah, why not have a better office? Don't stick her on a closet or in like the hallway, because that's really what that office is. It's like a hallway. There's a main emergency exit from the tax office, and then there's where the cleaning lady goes in and cleans up all the stuff. And that's one of the reasons I'm opposing of putting our VA officer, because we're gonna put her there and she's gonna get stuck with it.
I would like to rebuke 3 of the statements you just made, Commissioner Hernandez. Number 1, we don't have the budget right now, and we know that. Number 2, you just heard a former VCSO officer said that he worked out of that office and it was very sufficient. It is not a closet. There is a desk in there. There are 2 filing cabinets. There are windows. There are plants. It's a very nice office. And number 3, I don't think it's up to us as commissioners. I actually went to the VCSO and asked, is this sufficient? Denise's statement was, I'm used to working out of foxholes. This is glorious. This is perfect. And when you state about the emergency exit, sir, there are 2 emergency exits on that annex. And we already know that the Presidio County Appraisal District is looking for other space to move into because they are not county employees and their business is growing. So we have 2 exits. It does not, and if you've been in Nancy Arevelo's office lately, in the closet that they would use in order to get into what I'm calling the former commissioner's office, you can't get through there. I think y'all have boxes and everything. They can't go through there. So they have to come out and they can either go through glass doors, the PCAD, or through that office. I think it's
Okay.
may I finish?
Yeah.
I think it's a misrepresentation, Margarito. I think that it's important that we talk to veterans and we talk to the VCSO of what they need. But most of all, the VCSO needs an office. She's a county employee. That office is vacant. And I say, let's move her in and let her get to work, please, sir.
Like you said, this gentleman that was going over, he was going for a small time. Maybe a day, a week or two, twice a week or whatever, he was using that office.
So,
But you're saying that office was there, you don't see the office, it's a hallway where they come in and go out. Now, when I get a call, telling me that you want the keys, that room is gonna be secured, what are we gonna do? We're gonna force the ladies that work there at the annex to come out to the main door and go out and come in and whatever, that lock with the front door it's a two door, and it messes up real bad. That's why they use that back door to come out, come in, when they go to lunch and when they come back.
well, and I,
So it's a hallway, and then the cleaning lady's gonna be moving back and forth.
Mhm.
And, we're gonna have
I don't think,
I don't see it. I
Yeah.
don't agree with it.
I don't know, I haven't seen the master plans for that building, right? But if you ask me, it's truly more like a filing room. I think that's what it was meant for. I don't think it was meant to be an office. You're exactly right. There is a desk in it.
right,
And because there's no more space, there's no space to grow there.
right.
Everything else. And so when these discussions came up, it was basically about this. That right now is the only option. So, but what was working on in the background was the appraisal district that works very closely with the tax assessor office, right? I personally see the city of Presidio, they're in there constantly with the appraisal district because they're getting information to whatever, for easements or property descriptions or whatever it is. And they all work in tandem. They all work in lockstep. So what you didn't realize when you, I guess, and I don't want to say obligated, but when you said, we want this on it. We were already in discussions there's a new position that's been created by the appraisal district. And that position is for mapping. So now where do we put them? So all this is in motion while something else comes up about the Veterans Affairs Office. So I think the point that the commissioner is making, Commissioner Hernandez is making is, let's have a discussion. Are there alternatives? Are there other options? I know I've offered the annex, if that would be appropriate, in my little office in the back. I'll make space back there. I'm sure Blair doesn't want to hear this, but maybe the Boca position. If we could give up that office and put the VCSO in there, it'd have more privacy. It's a bigger office. That could be an option. I'm sure.
Coordinator office. And
Yeah.
also a
Yeah.
place to meet.
Yeah. And that's what, yeah, exactly. And I go back to the same thing. You see where we're coming just in this big circle where I don't think there's any ill intent on anybody's part. It's just, there's a lot of moving parts. I will tell you what I have seen personally at that annex is they're like a symbiont circle. I mean, they work in tandem with each other. They get along very well. And much to what you're saying, they're used to their little space. So, and I think that's the concern, is an interruption.
Help me with this. You just mentioned that it was appropriate to move a Presidio County Appraisal District mapper into that office. So you had already offered that to the mapping position which doesn't even start there because they're here training until January. Why is it appropriate to offer it as an office to the PCAD and not offer it as an office to a county employee, Joe? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, no, and again,
Yeah.
no one knew this was coming.
Right.
I mean, this just,
Right.
this is something that new that transpired, the VCSO and office space and, you know, like, Alci Tavares didn't want an office.
Right.
He worked out of his house and he would go visit the veterans. That was his option and that's what he chose to do. So,
But we
and-
did,
yeah.
approve the VCSO
yes,
to advertise way before we approved the PFAS budget. I don't think you were there the day that
Oh.
we approved that mapping position.
okay,
So we already, you know, I mean, if you approve a departmental budget, and I understand that you and Alcy didn't feel the need, but you know, I'm not asking for much, y'all. I'm just asking, let a county employee occupy county office, which is typically where veterans will go. We've heard that, to look for their VCSO. And if we decide down the road, we need to figure out some other option, so be it. But right now, the office is vacant and it is very sufficient.
You know what, the issue here is I understand part of you guys, what you're saying, but the issue is, and I'll say this again in open court, the issue is about the best we can do at this point in time for the veterans. And if that office is the answer, let's do it. If we need to do something else, surely as a commissioner's court, we can sit down and figure out something else to do. Right now, if veterans need an office to come to, we need to provide it for them.
okay.
Bottom line.
Commissioner Ortiz, do you have anything to add? Okay, so, any other discussion from the court? So I'll entertain motions.
I move that we approve the Veteran County Service Officer VCSO moving into the Presidio County Annex Office, formerly established as a Commissioner's Office, immediately.
Okay, so I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. Motion carries 4-1. We'll move on to agenda.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you very
We'll
much.
move on to agenda item number 11, discussion with action to approve the new Presidio County amended and restated sick leave pool policy to become effective January 1, 2027.
Yes, sir. Okay. As they want me on amending, pretty much rewriting our whole, policy, which hadn't been renewed since 2016. I'll let her speak on that. He did a lot of work on it and it's looking very good.
So, Lower brought this to my attention several months ago. I said, I have to make new things on my plate, give me several months to look at it. I looked at our current sick leave pool policy and leave with what the statute requires. And there were a lot of holes. It was not compliant with the statute. So I rewrote a completely new, amended and restated, sick leave pool policy. It functionally, is similar to what we're already, implementing. So there's not gonna be a lot of changes for the treasurer's office or the auditor's office on a practical note. But from a legal standpoint, there are a lot of differences, in making sure we're in compliance with the law. As all of our employees know, but just so the public knows, we have a sick leave pool policy whereby full-time employees are welcome to donate or contribute 1 to 5, well, now it's 1 to 5, days per year into the pool. And then, if we have an employee who either the employee or their immediate family, has to expend all of their own personal sick leave due to, very serious illnesses, right? We're thinking cancer, dialysis, any kind of serious illnesses. They may request time from the pool, which has been some of that donated time. So that once they've expended their own sick leave time, they don't have to take unpaid leave from the county in order to get their medical treatment. So that's the point of the pool. You do have to be, by law, you have to be a full-time employee for a continuous 12 months before you can, be eligible to enter the pool, and you do have to, contribute 1 to 5 working, sick days into the pool every year. So, functionally, like I said, we're continuing the pool as it's already being implemented with a few small differences. Just formalizing it more and making sure we're compliant with the law. The way I've drafted this agreement was to make it effective on January first. And that is because the way we run our pool is that the annual contributions are contributed on January first, as opposed to our fiscal year. We can make it effective today, or we can make it effective January first. It doesn't really matter, because from a practical standpoint, it will become effective. It'll really make a practical difference on January first. So that's how I wrote it. Like I said, you can make it effective today, and that would be all the same as well. But if anyone has reviewed the amended sick leave pool policy or has any questions about it, ask me, because I have spent many hours writing this up and researching what other counties in Texas do.
In a nutshell, if you want to participate or if you want to go to the sick leave pool and ask for hours, you need to be a member of it.
Yes.
And contributing member.
Yes, you do need to be a contributing member of the pool in order to ask, request withdrawal of hours from the pool. It doesn't have to be a personal illness. If someone who you are a primary care provider for, such as a parent or a child, has the illness, then you can request, time out of that pool. Obviously, if someone has a child with cancer or any kind of major illness, you don't want that small, exception to be the reason why they can't take paid time off, using the full hours.
So am I to understand, like, if there were something exceptional that occurred to one of our county employees and they hadn't contributed, they could not go into the pool?
Right, and that's part of how the pool, so it's a combined thing where people in the county have decided, I'm gonna contribute to this pool in case I need it, in case and by law, you have to be a full-time employee with continuous 12-month employment on a full-time basis in order to be eligible. So I don't have any wiggle room on that, because that's my statute. There is one very large county, Harris County, which is the largest county, that allows non-members to pool from the pool. But in their situation, it doesn't make much of a difference because their pool is so large, they have such an excess of pool hours. It's not the non-member, there's a whole other section in their policy about non-members. They can only request certain numbers, and they don't get the full amount of benefits as the members do. But it is allowable in at least one county in Texas, in Harris County, but all the other counties that I looked at, it is a membership basis.
Do we have bereavement leave in our policy?
I think one,
That's where.
that's beautiful.
So it's personal, we changed the word to personal, so you're more than welcome to use your 32 hours of personal time for any incident at the county employee.
Rather than limited to.
Rather
Is
than,
there bereavement for funeral, like getting off the funeral?
No, it's for your personal days. That's why it got changed so that you're able to use it for a bride, then just coming down to say all of them are for bereavement.
and so where does the personal time come in? Are you saying vacation?
No, sir, every year on January 1, every full-time employee gets 32 hours of personal time. That's separate from vacation time and sick leave.
Yes, there are 3 different buckets of time that the employees get. Sick leave time can only be used for sickness and medical appointments.
Yes.
Vacation time can only be used for vacation, and that's acquired on a time basis.
And personal time you can use as soon as you come in, but vacation, you have to wait the full year before you can start.
Personal time is to be used of the employees and employer discretion.
Yes. So, those are 3 different buckets, and then this sick leave pool, it wouldn't apply to bereavement because bereavement is for death. The sick leave pool is only for catastrophic injuries.
Yeah.
So it's for like an FMLA situation. So if someone qualifies for FMLA, they will also qualify for, and they've used up all of their first, their sick leave time, then they can, and they're a member, then they can come to the pool and request to withdraw hours out of the pool to use, for their paid time off.
How does the city of Marfa do they have a bereavement leave?
No, we do not. It would be a personal day off.
Yeah.
And with that, and we don't have, I don't believe we do near 32 hours of personal, so that's really generous. Of the county to do that, so I might take that to charity and see it.
Any other questions about the pool policy?
No.
Oh, and Florida's the administrator of the policy and is required by law for the commissioners to appoint an administrator. The treasurer has always effectively been the administrator, it just wasn't a formal appointment like it's required to be, so just so everyone knows, Flora is now formally, but has always been the administrator of the policy, and so, she, when people want to enroll or change their hours or withdraw from the pool, they go to her with their applications. And she's the one who runs that pool.
Okay. Any other discussion? Motions?
I'll make a motion to approve the new Presidio County amend and restated sick leave pool policy to become effective on January the 1st of 2026.
I'll second that.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. Thank you for all that work, Ms.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 12, discussion with action to accept the grant award for crime victim coordinator. Grant number 4837803 to start date October 1, 2025 through September 30th, 2026.
Yes,
So
sir.
retro.
They did the budget amendment for this, crime victim, grant.
Yes.
This is just the acceptance of the award, by the county.
Okay.
Please accept.
I'll make a motion that we accept the grant awarded crime victim coordinator grant number 4837803, start date 10/01/25 through 9/30/2026.
Second.
Motion and second by Commissioner Knight. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item number 13, discussion with action to approve the contract agreement with Certified Payments, which will be a card payment system integrated by Spindle Media. Ms. Arevalo, how are you?
Good. Everybody doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Really good. I think we're gonna have to, table this, but can I give you just kind of like a little insight?
Absolutely.
Because I will bring it to the next commissioner's court. I did present, the contract to our county attorney, and she did, identify some things that they were saying that they needed to be explicit. And since we're already with two other credit card companies, so I did contact them, Blair, and they said that they could amend the contract. Yeah, but they want to make sure they told me to get back to you to say if you wanted to make any more amendments on there before they do. So they haven't sent it yet, so that's what we're gonna have to table. I know that we already are in contract with two other companies, okay? Commissioner Knight, let me update you on that.
Please.
The previous tax assessor, you know how we don't have in that office, in the tax office, we don't take credit card or debit card payments because
Right.
we don't have the system. Well, the previous tax assessor, Ms. Williams, she had gone into a contract with four. Been over a year, they never got back to her, nothing. I wasn't aware of that. So when I came in, I went with another company, which is Catalyst. They still haven't come forth with anything.
Really?
And I told them that they could, because they wanted to be integrated with our new property tax system. So I said, but we have the DMV. I said, you can do a non-integrated, and that way we can take, for the registration, for everything, we can take credit card payments. Still, they haven't brought their equipment. Now, Certified Payments, Spindle Media, the new tax program we have, they have Certified Payments integrated in their system. They didn't put it in our contract because we didn't request it, but they said they could be up and going if the commissioner's court approves them. They can be up and running like immediately. our phones, we've already sent out the tax statements, our phones are ringing off the hook. Can we pay with a card? Can we pay with a card? No, not yet.
Is there a cost to the county on that?
No, absolutely no cost. I talked, let me tell you about the rates. They said no. They won't charge us for the equipment. For the one that the previous tax assessor, they're gonna charge 2.79%.
And that charges to the consumer, not, it's to the customer, and it's applied to their payment, that charge is not applied to the county.
Perfect.
Catalyst, the one I went with, is 2.45%. Certified payments said that they'll start us off at 2.3, but they said that they could get us down to a better rate after. That's why, because I did talk to our attorney and I said, you think that another credit card system is feasible? And she said, you can have as many as 10,
Yeah.
right?
As long as they're non-exclusive, it's more work on your end.
I know.
From a legal standpoint, as long as they're non-exclusive, then it doesn't matter.
Nancy, so all three cards, no charges to the county?
No.
Okay, so add away. I have a question because you're referring to certified and you might want to explain that to us. What is
Certified payments?
Yeah.
That's the name of their
It's the name of the
company.
It's not a special type of name.
That's the name of their company, certified.
Certified payments.
Like Core, like Catalyst, the other ones we have.
If
That's just their
the
name.
first two haven't done anything to move forward after the.
No, the other companies have, and I've told them, I said, we need a non-integrated for the life, we can start you there. Because I had told, our attorneys, the other two companies, I can put one in Presidio for the DMV.
Right.
And I can put the other one here, but for the property tax payments, I would like the certified payments because it's integrated in the system already. So when someone goes in there and pays, it's gonna credit the account automatically. It'll be less work for me,
Yeah.
more convenience for
We're
the,
all for
for the
that.
customers.
I
They're
think
gonna be
so.
really happy, and I know they've been asking you,
Yes, they have.
so.
You know, I think one of the other.
I think Presidio County needs to move into the 21st century. I really do.
Yeah.
I think one of the other contracts requires integration with the property tax system. It doesn't mean they're not exclusive, just so it doesn't mean that you can't use Spindle Media and with their automatic integrated system, but it means if they push for it, you're gonna have to do the work.
Who is it, Catalyst? I think it's.
Or
Or, I don't know, we need to look.
one
into
of
that.
them has part of their contract
So-
says that you will work with them on integrating your property
I
tax
just,
system.
I think it's.
So if they push on that, you are contractually obligated to help, to do work to have them integrate to your property tax system. If they don't push it,
Because I did tell Spindle Media initially when they came on board, I said, that I wanted to integrate, Catalyst, because I was reading for them, right? And they said, we've never heard of it. Core, never heard of it.
Nancy, help me. It was Core that was already in place when you got elected. And then when we got Catalyst, it seems like we got a threatening letter from Core saying blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, there's.
So if they're willing to go through that threatening legal letter, why aren't they providing us with cards? Because our people want to be able to use cards.
Yeah.
First second question.
No, I'm sure, I'm preaching to the choir here, but so is there not anything in the contract that says if you don't provide the friggin' equipment, we're gonna cancel our contract?
Well, I know,
I don't know. That's 2 months since I looked at the contract.
no, I know you don't remember, but you did go through the Core contract, the first contract
Okay.
that the previous taxes.
I knew that.
And I recall Blair saying, you can't get out of this contract, and if you do, they were gonna fine us, I don't know,
Right.
$10,000
Oh,
or something like that.
You had to work with them to integrate the system with a certain time period, but if they couldn't integrate the system, I don't remember what. If they couldn't integrate the system in a certain time period due to your failure to work with them, then they would charge $10,000.
Oh.
That was the original, so that was, actually, I don't remember. One of them.
Yeah, that
So
was.
this was in June, we may not even know what month.
Yeah, but I did talk to Natalia, the previous, Ms. Williams, the previous tax assessor. She said they never got in contact. Never. They never asked for any additional.
I think it was catalyst $10,000. But I guess the greater point though is that assessment, that $10,000 integration assessment would only apply if you failed to work with them to integrate the system. If they're not working with you to integrate the system, then
Okay, so
I just looked at that.
no,
legal issue
you'll have
specifically.
plenty of time.
Someone can ask me.
If they get that contract certified payments, I'll send it to her, to Blair and have her revise it. But that's where we're at. I just wanted to update you because I
Thank
will
you.
come back. And it's your call, but if,
Well,
clients are really,
You said the magic words, if it doesn't cost us anything, then.
And it's non-exclusive.
Right.
That was my change to the contract, that it had to be exclusive, and I said, no.
Yeah,
We can't do that.
yeah, it came back, and I didn't read it, I just sent it to her, but she said, nope. But they did answer and said, we can make a change there.
Yeah.
They had no
One
problem.
sentence in the contract makes.
So I'm thinking if we come back, when is our next commissioners court date?
I'm not sure exactly.
The 25th.
Okay, by the end of November, I'll come back with that, if they send the revised, contract. So hopefully.
Tuesday, the 25th?
Yes. So hopefully in December, we can start taking.
She actually moved it up so that we can have a longer.
Okay, that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Commissioner.
Nancy,
Thank you, thank you very much.
like I said, we're in the 21st century.
I
right?
know, right? Yes.
Part of it was just party.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy.
Okay. Department reports, discussion with action to approve the Presidio County Department reports, A through K.
Judge, I do have all department reports in there, and I do want to, Judge, Marcus did come in this morning to kind of show me they're still learning their new system and everything, so. It does quarterly reports, she said, so we're trying to fix it to where it's a monthly report. She said that, there it is. If you open it and you told me, which is the right person.
Okay,
That I think she said the 9,301 was what the county made, right?
I have a question, y'all. I was looking at the EMS reports and the Presidio EMS, the POE is the port of entry.
correct.
Is that not is that in the city, not in the county? They always say it's in the county, but isn't that the port of entry's in the city limits, isn't it?
I do not believe it is. I believe it ends right at that Y where it cuts off. But I'll find out.
Okay,
So
thank you.
What is your?
That was just my
What is
question.
your concern there?
Just to make sure that our reports are good, because as I'm going to more and more trainings and stuff and learning about emergency management, I think that there is a good thing to have a delineation of if it's in the city, it should be marked in the city. If it's in the county, it should be marked in the county.
Yeah.
In a weird coincidence, I'm working on an interlocal cooperation agreement for, emergency medical services now, because we don't have.
Oh, shit.
So it's funny you should bring it up. It looks like I've been ignoring or staring at my computer this whole time. It's usually because I'm working on contracts or criminal court. This is what I happen to be doing today.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I saw those, I saw the port of entry call outs. How many are on the ballpark? 5? So I think.
Is that a report?
Yeah, to me, I'll speak for myself. It's not uncommon for me to see the EMS, the city of Presidio EMS at the port of entry. I don't know how many calls they made last year, but it was probably upwards of 50 or 60. I think the point of it is, of annotating those as POE is, again, our argument that in other international ports of entry, there are the local governments, the city governments, the county governments, use that information to say, this is how the international bridge impacts our local spending and our local tax dollars.
Yeah.
So it's a mechanism to justify
Mhm.
our argument that we need to toll.
Right.
So, yeah, so
And to answer your question, there were just 6
in that month.
in this month
Yeah.
report.
So.
It was August. that were-
And I know, I'm gonna say it's probably between 60 and 75 a year.
Okay.
But there's a matrix you can use that determines what a EMS run goes. And I'd say it's probably, you might be able to answer this, Mayor Pro Tem, but I want to say it's close to $3,000. About $2,800 is a call out, is a basic call out.
I would have to check with Nino.
So, yeah.
It's been a long
So-
time since I looked at it.
I think you're pretty close.
So when you go back and you say you got 75 call outs to the port of entry at $3,000 a whack, you can start to say that money would be better used fixing potholes locally or putting in a water line or replacing a sewer line or whatever it is. Spending it on the master plan that you need for the landfill for its future. And instead we're using it at a port of entry. So, and it's the same thing with the police department. The police department and the sheriff's office both get called out to the port of entry. And the one thing that when you run across over 2 million people crossing that bridge every year, you're bound to have some that come back wanted. And they come back wanted out of Houston, and you wouldn't believe half the stuff they come back wanted for, but they come back wanted for.
They come back to live.
Yeah, right.
But
So-
how long are we were EMS required to respond if they get a call for EMS at the port?
Yes. Yes, it's one of those things, I mean, and that's the question that probably our state legislators don't truly recognize. Is we can't, if EMS gets called out to a specific house 3 times, 5 times, and they haven't made any payments, so they submit an invoice.
Right.
But they don't get paid, that doesn't mean you go back and look at your system and say, well,
Yeah.
you haven't paid your last 2 call outs, we're not gonna show up until there is no mechanism. You eat it, and you know what, you eat the sandwich and it's not what you ordered and you're gonna eat it.
I do remember a guy that complained of chest pains before they loaded him in the ambulance, took him to Alpine, they got to the emergency room, got, I said, I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Walked off.
Oh, good transport.
Free transport.
Right.
That guy should have had to pay for it.
Right.
So, any other questions with department reports?
No, thank you for clarifying. that.
Okay, and I'll entertain a motion.
I move we approve the City County departmental reports as presented.
A second.
I have a motion and a second by Commissioner Hernandez. All in favor?
Aye.
We get to administrative updates and announcements from the county judge and commissioners, but I'm gonna defer to Karina Nunez. I think she wanted to ask, are we still on for the 25th? Okay, is that what you're asking? So a special meeting on our calendar is November 25th.
I'm gonna ask y'all to really consider having that meeting, because the reason it got moved up to a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday is so that we already have a long Thanksgiving. And the main reason I'm asking that we keep with that, why would we put it on the calendar if we're not? And I know I'm not gonna make a lot of people happy, but I have requested that Lacey Lofton with the US Census Bureau wants to make a presentation to us, because there were 4 counties that were selected to be test sites. Are you familiar with it?
No.
4 counties that were selected to be test sites, which is Pecos, Brewster, Jeff Davis, and Presidio County. And I want Lacey to present to us, because this is an excellent opportunity for people to make some money and get better numbers on our census. And you know what that means. They are paying anywhere from $29 an hour to $32 an hour. And so I have tried to get that information out into the schools. I've gotten it down to Presidio. Bianca Bayonne is helping me to disseminate it around Presidio, especially right before the holidays. I would think that people would really
Is she
appreciate
coming
having.
in person or?
She's coming in person.
Okay.
She's gonna give us a presentation on what the census, why they selected us to be a testing site and what this will accomplish.
Will,
But I think this meeting is slated to be in Presidio. It's
Right.
Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Can we just, I think in order to really have this conversation on whether we're gonna have it, will there be a quorum in Presidio on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving?
Just to let you know, I'm not gonna be here.
3 people.
I'll be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Only
Everybody
Frank.
yes?
Yes,
Okay.
planning on, yeah, I have no work, I'm not. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So Commissioners, Commissioner Knight,
Yes, sir.
do you have anything?
I got a couple of things. First, I had a meeting with some of the stakeholders at the airport about their concerns still, and they're generally the same thing. One of them goes back, way back to a master plan we had where they were gonna tear down the T hangars and some of the old hangars there. And some of the folks that have planes in there are still concerned that that's gonna happen. And I guess I got out on a limb a little bit and said, I don't believe that we're gonna tear down any hangars at this time without, we'd have to replace them first.
Yeah.
I think the other big issue they have, and I've been told our treasurer is working on it, is lack of leases and lack of billing. They wanna bill, and I don't mind, they wanna bill once a year for their, and everybody wants a lease on paper. And that, I think those are the two big concerns. I did hear a complaint about the price of fuel, but
Yeah.
please don't.
Working on.
Yeah.
For pieces that,
Yeah.
you've been working on it for a
A
while.
lot of work to be done, yeah.
And it's gotta be a mess, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm working on, actually finish what you're talking about and then I'll give my feel.
No, that's basically, that was the two big things.
Okay.
Just out of the top of my head, I don't know what our budget is on maintenance costs out there, but we really seriously need to think about painting and fixing up the office a little bit instead of losing it.
Budget for the airport budgets is up to the county budget.
Uh-huh.
Get with, if any of these questions,
Right.
very first person you should be talking to is Chase.
Chase,
He
yeah.
is the man out there, what's going on, he's amazing. I've been working with him, more recently on updating minimum standards at VO for both airports.
Mm-hmm.
The lease we have an airport policy because there was policy that was put in place in like 2008 and it's bad and outdated and everything. So I'm working on a lot of contracts right now that are, airport wide. And then once I get those in place, the minimum standards FBO, the airport policy, the land use policy, and the airport use policy, and then also updating our form lease, because it needs to be
Mhm.
updated. Then I'll start working on a lease by lease basis of all the issues. There are many issues,
Right.
the lease is out there. One thing to comment, most of the hangars, and I don't wanna say all, but most of the hangars, the actual structure is not owned by the county. The land underneath is owned by
Right.
the county, but the structure is owned by the individual who has the lease. So it is not, for, when we're discussing the structures, it's not on the county to decide that structure is updated, blah, 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 without there being something in the lease that, we tell them
Right.
needs to be put in
See, I-
condition, but it's not the county's position to start going out there and
Right.
start fixing up,
See,
or
there
tearing
was,
down hangars.
I know there was one hangar that's a private hangar that the hangar owner was told it would be one of the ones taken down. Cause he tore me up in this office a few years ago. And I understand, and I explained that to him, you can't just take somebody's hangar that owns it away.
Is it dilapidated? Is it?
Well, it ain't pretty, but.
It's not pretty.
But they're
Well,
not-
that's a whole,
who
Yeah.
the lease says what, which
Right. Yeah.
what.
Anyway, that was just, that's
so-
one of their complaints, is just, that's what they've heard.
Write it down
Yeah,
and then give it to me and I'll look at it.
all right,
Once I get there, I'll look at it.
sure.
One of the issues we do have though is, going through and making sure compliance with leases. We have some that are out of compliance. I'm working on terminating a lease, because the owner has passed.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got a phone call from their attorney to discuss it. So I'm working on issues, trying to work on issues as they come to me.
Sure.
And take bites a little at a time. But one of the issues we have, so for the most part, and now our lease is all over the place, so I can't, this doesn't apply to every lease. So the most
Right.
part, our leases provide that they will be making payments, but it doesn't state that the county has to issue an itemized statement on the
Right.
invoice to them. So if someone has not been paying their lease, we can go back, take a look at
Right.
who's out of, out of their compliance without making anything from the county. Get with them and say, hey, you intend on paying your arrears, or do we need to work on, ending
Right.
your lease?
Sure.
So that's the whole, everything is different. There's some leases that are 20 years old, there's some leases that are 2 years old, they're all different forms. So there's a lot for me to do. And I'm trying to take on,
I'm good.
just be patient, but as you get these kind of concerns from, our lessees out there, please write them down
All right.
and bring them to me. I might
Sure.
not look at it that day, but once I get to their lease and their issues, then at least I'll have something written down that says, here's the concerns, and here are the issues, with their leasing. So it's gonna take, for the leasing part of it, it's gonna take a lot of work for me. There's a lot of leases out there that needs to be completely rewritten.
If somebody, the main thing I can say, if somebody asks me, I can say it's being worked on. And that's all we can.
Say what?
I
It's
brought
being
it to
worked
the
on.
court.
It's being addressed. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day.
But yeah, as you have questions about what's happening on the county side, Chase is like the first person
Yeah.
to ask.
Oh, I talk
And
to
then if
Chase
he
all the
doesn't
time.
know and tells you to come to me, then you come to me.
Right.
The leases issue is mostly a me issue. Chase doesn't really, he knows about what's going on down there, but for the actual leases, he doesn't
Right.
know them directly. So yeah, and I would expect maybe at the next commissioners meeting, even if I might not be there, there might be minimum standards FBO, airport rules, and airport lands policy on the agenda. Cause I've been working on a, see if I get there, I'm constantly overestimating how quickly I can get through things. So those are things I'm working on, and I'm also, cause we just talked about it, currently working on interlocal agreements for emergency medical services and fire protection services. So you're gonna see one
Okay.
come up in Marfa, cause.
I have a question about hangar keepers on the minimum standards FBO thing, so I'll get on that.
Sounds good. And
Of
so
course she
those are
did.
like the things, I know everyone, when we go to these meetings, everyone's like, we're busy, we're working on things, but no one quite knows what I'm working on. That's my current slate, what's right in front of me right now are those emergency medical services and then airport services. Stuff. If anyone has questions about that kind of stuff, apparently we do not have any sort of agreement with our cities or the volunteer fire department. We pay them and they get the reports, but there's nothing in writing. There was that one bullet here that I said. It was Paul Hunt. It was a Paul Hunt letter. So anyways, I'm working on that. As y'all have seen, I'm slowly chipping away. These things come up and policies and old things that come up that need to be on paper if I've ever done it. So I'm trying, I'm slowly chipping away.
You're doing a
Be
great
patient
job.
with me.
Yeah. Thank you for waiting.
Yeah, the only other issue, or the only other thing I had was the elevator, and they're on the antiquities contract. We lacked a signature, and then since, we were informed that they had to put a fire door, was the new code. So I kept trying to get a hold of Texas Historical Commission, did we have to have a new permit to do this, and they never would call me back, so I called our senator, and they all called me back the next day. But the other one was the engineering, the TK elevator, and the engineering firm, and I finally got to the guy at the engineering firm who said he's gonna work on it. So we'll go from, that's all I can,
Excellent.
well, we'll see what happens, but
Thank you,
he
Bobby.
said he was gonna work on it. Most of them told me, he said, you don't need to talk to me, talk to so-and-so, and I called somebody, and they returned my call, and they said, you don't need to talk to me, you need to talk to so. So one guy finally said, yeah, I'm the guy you need to talk to.
Yes. We did receive that email, Commissioner Knight, saying the Texas Historical Commission will approve, they
Right.
sent us a letter approving, the fixing to the elevator.
Well, yeah.
Yay.
And the one lady I did talk to from Austin, one of the issues, I said, well, the door that's there now is not an original door. They're just, and it may be more the frame, because it is an original frame. I said, what do you think about putting in a fire door with all that hot hydraulic oil in there? And electricity, if there were a fire, maybe it'd keep the courthouse from burning down. And she understood that.
Good point.
Thank you.
I'm
Commissioner?
I just talked to Ruben from Road and Bridges, and he said he's gonna come and fix those. That's his plan.
Okay,
Told me there was somebody
yeah,
asking for help. So
okay,
he's gonna come fix that.
sounds good. We got a lot of roads. So, Commissioner?
I just wanted to say, if you can speak with Denise, we don't want no problems. I know she's gonna be a good person to do what she's gonna do. We just don't want no problem. We already think what she has done. We should keep, yes, keep the peace. That's all yeah. Okay, that's it.
Commissioner?
I'm going to a couple of commissioners training, tomorrow and the next day. I did want to roll that out that, I do have Lacey coming in from the US Census Bureau to give us a presentation on the 25th. And, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
So the rail project continues to move forward. They're making a lot of advancements there. Looking forward to the first choo-choo train going through there in a long time.
Nice.
We had a meeting with TxDOT on a border master plan that they're redoing. And it was a great turnout, great event. There was a lot of stimulating conversation about some of the things that we can do to help improve commerce and trade to continue to roll through there. So excited about that. Do any of the other Ms. Catano, Ms. Zubia?
Harvey, Carol. You are, reporting, you see, picture email that I sent this morning about labeling fees, get that ready for them so they can come in, do their thing and head out. Alicia and myself have a meeting with them Monday they'll be here about 4 p.m., 4:30-ish. But Commissioner, and on this, I will ask you to just stay a little bit so that we can talk about the Redford schools. So that, I've never been up there, so we need to make sure that somebody is able to go.
Is there any capital asset items out there? Just desk and chairs.
It's a share.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So do we just look at the current capital asset list, make sure that those are tagged and stuff?
Well,
Yeah.
that list is probably outdated.
It
My office
totally
has-
is.
I had to make a whole new list and I did a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
but I like.
Yeah, so just kind of tab whatever's in your office and we'll decide, we'll make the calls to what needs to be there, depending on our
Yeah,
system.
and mark what's personal, that way they don't mark it as county property. Right.
Yeah.
Personal and leased, those fees do not go on our asset list.
I know you're supposed to do it in the springtime, but this is an opportune time to, those things that you're not using, that are outdated, that are obsolete, that have no useful life left in them, designate them so we could get rid of them.
And we won't capitalize anything over $5,000.
Okay.
Our policy just changed, the auditor
Let me
bought it.
put the filing cabinet, if she wants to go ahead and put it online, you can move it or just move it.
Just move it.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
So that's another, is that I did it, there's the veterans office, just kind of question marks, because they wanted to know.
So I will email them today and let them know that we need, whatever is gonna be marked under the veterans office, I really need to know so that I can.
So the
Just
new,
like if
the
someone has-
new computer,
That, no, well, that they're giving to the veterans office.
the 14th?
Hopefully.
14. Okay, thank you. And all of the Vizcaino and all that's off?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, Ms. Arevalo? Okay. All right, yes.
I am, so I've already got you doing the contracts I'm working on. If anyone has any questions or wants to bring any other contracts or anything up to my attention, please do so very quickly. I'm coming up on baby time. Just an update on that, everything's going well, but starting in December, I have to start going to Berlin bi-weekly and then at the end of December, every week for appointments until, I give birth, and then I will be MIA. So if you have something urgent that needs to happen by the end of the year, please let me know ASAP, because I'm super busy right now trying to prepare criminal stuff and also county stuff for the end of the year before I die.
So your preference is that we don't bring anything till 2026?
If it doesn't have to be done by
Great.
the end of this year. That's why I don't.
Sanchez?
No, sir, thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi. Joe, did you want this back or can I?